guys, welcome to the Maresa Ng official channel where we help businesses to grow. So today's question that I have for you is this: what robs an entrepreneur's laser sharp focus? Staying focused is every entrepreneur's difficult issue, and I'll find that a lot of business owners find themselves burning out because they're just doing too many things all around the clock. And you see, we get caught up with some of those stories out there where, oh my gosh, this particular businessman has 10 different companies. That's how they make it big. But the thing is, we don't hear the stories where this one businessman for 20 years started a company and was chalking at it with a core foundation and then diversified on that core foundation. We don't hear those kinds of stories, and we get caught up with those stories of diversification, of owning multiple businesses and spreading ourselves far too thin. So the question today is, what robs entrepreneurs of that laser sharp focus? Let's talk a little bit about that. The first thing that robs entrepreneurs and business owners of laser sharp focus is busyness. You heard that right. B-U-S-Y-N-E-S-S, not B-U-S-I-N-E-S-S. And the thing is, people in business are far too busy that there is a lack of thinking time. And this is the thing. Sometimes we find that we are getting rushed into making big life-changing decisions on what will people say? Look, this is a one chance in a lifetime for you to invest that 50,000 ringgit so that you get that 20% discount. You better do it now or never. And sometimes we find ourselves getting ourselves into a jam. It's fine if we've been considering this opportunity, we've done the pros and cons, we've evaluated it back, front, right and left, we've done all that, then that's okay. But if we find ourselves in this sort of autopilot busyness, and when you get to the end of the year and you find, what have I been up to? If you found that you've just been busy but you haven't achieved much, that is one of the biggest distractors that takes us away from that laser sharp focus in order for us to achieve success. Number 2, lack of a plan, lack of a business plan. Now, does that sound cliche to you? Well, I'll tell you what, it may sound cliche, but if you're one of those without a plan of your own, then you're just gonna float around with everybody else's plan. You're just gonna be floating around and, okay, he's got a plan, I'm gonna follow that. She's got a plan, I'm gonna follow that. And then where is your own destiny? You're not creating that because of a lack of your own plan, direction, clarity, and firmness to keeping to what you want for your business. You flow around with others. And that brings me to the third problem that distracts the daylight off us. Why are entrepreneurs distracted? This is the third point. Saying yes to everything. Oh my gosh. If you're the sort of person, oh, that sounds good. Yeah, let's do it. Oh my God, that sounds good too. Yeah, let's do that. Oh, that's cool. You're jumping on everything. Oh my gosh. Have you ever heard the saying, less is more? Because sometimes you've gotta be able to say no. No, why? Because you have your plan. So if you missed the first part of this video, go back to that. Where having your own plan allows you to say yes or no or later for some things. And you do not have to say yes to everything. Some projects that do not come at the right time and space with the amount of resources that you've got, sometimes you gotta say no because you've also got to evaluate what have I got on my plate. And if you take those on, you're going to be thinning yourself out. More likely, if you take on another project, the projects at hand will suffer in quality. Now, you don't want that. So sometimes saying no today can actually mean yes tomorrow. That is something that we have got to train ourselves as entrepreneurs on when to say yes and when to say no. So gang, staying focused sounds like something that we'd hear from our parents from when we're this high. And they'll say, stay focused on studying, stay focused on eating, and stay focused. It's really quite hard to stay focused these days with the advent of technology. we have our focus broken down into so many devices, so many parts, there's so many things that are robbing our attention every minute of the day. Now that is very, very important. And you know, we don't hear these stories where entrepreneurs and business owners focused hard on something. And this is very, very crucial, because when you focus, it is also about patience of working at something until it becomes a profitable entity. There's some fruition, because a lot of the time we're expecting to work on something. After 2 days, it's not working. Okay, dump. You know, and that's the thing. We hear too many stories of people that just flicked a switch, but we don't know how long they've been working on it and how long they had to focus on that one core business to make it work. One airline, one software, one company, and then later they diversify. But you see, the thing is, when we get to those stories when they are diversified, we think that they own 20 companies. They own 20 companies, but they've got resources and they've got a core to be able to support all those other companies as well. So guys, remember, before you decide to stretch yourself thin, ask yourself, where do you need to focus? And do ask yourself as well, what's robbing your focus today and making you exhausted? Because with laser sharp focus, you will be able to have that great business and a great life. Because remember this, guys, being in business is about having more life. Take care, and I'll see you next week.